AI. Introduce yourself and your name and your years of experience of doing this.
So yeah, thank you for having me, Jackie. We go way back since high school. I'm Kyle Gao. I'm a PhD student in the Department of Systems Design Engineering at the University of Waterloo. And my background, well, I studied mathematical physics in undergrad and particle accelerator physics for my master's degree. And I've been doing computer vision based research, which is a subfield of deep learning and AI, for slightly more than 2 years.
Okay. So to give context, the video we're going to react first to is Adam Conover's AI is BS. This has been exploding since 2 weeks ago, and he is background being a comedian writer. So don't take his words seriously, but we're gonna be reacting for context that people gotta understand that there is actually real implications of this actually and removing jobs, even though he says his point of view is saying that AI is not gonna take our jobs. We are different. We are pro AI. He's like against AI. So, well, he's not against AI. He's just saying that AI won't take your jobs. We are more likely say we're more inclined to say AI will take your job. So, starting the video, okay?
So, artificial
Wait, can you hear this before we?
intelligence has had a weird month.
I can't hear your video, but I have my video playing, so.
Okay. I'll play the video.
Bing's new AI search engine started gaslighting its own users worse than an abusive boyfriend.
Bing's new AI.
Google shares lost $100 billion after their new AI chatbot made errors so obvious.
Based on ChatGPT, I think Bing integrated a version of ChatGPT.
But despite this massive failure, Google's announced they plan to
Google
stuff
shares
AI
recovered
in
already,
every
so.
goddamn product they make like it's cheese on a pizza.
I bought the
Hut
diff, in
menu.
fact.
And they
Wait, what?
I bought the dip from when you're talking about Google shares dipping due to their
Oh
large
yes,
AI
yes.
making a mistake, and share plunged to like $92, I think.
Yep, it did. It did plunge for a bit. So, but I still don't
Right now
think
it's at
there's
the
a
105
problem.
or something, 10, 110, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. Alphabet, right? You did the C class, right? C class shares. So 6 months ago. So you're saying around January?
Yeah, I think so.
Like around here, right?
So
Yeah.
yeah, it dipped to like 92 at some point.
That would be. Let's see. 92 would be way. Actually, there was never a point. Nope. I don't see any 92s. $92 per share. But anyways, getting deterred here.
They are not alone. Tech companies
January
are suddenly promising to
90,
use AI.
Maybe
What?
I'm talking about the dip in February, so to 90. Yeah, no. If you look at February, I'm looking at the Class A.
Oh, Class A.
Yeah, there's a big dip. But no, regardless, it's not important, right?
No, it's not important. Anyways, video.
Google has recovered, and it's
Yeah.
probably gonna go up because they're also big on AI. So
Yep.
AI to revolutionize everything from computer programming to customer service to therapy. Yeah, that's right. In a couple years, your insurance company's AI billing department will deny your claim to see
we
your health
synced up on the
plan's
video
AI
at
therapist.
156,
Wow, the future.
157.
Wait, what?
Are we synced up on the video? I'm at 2 minutes, 201, 202.
Oh, I'm at 46 right now, dude.
Okay, I'll wait for you.
Yeah.
Future's gonna fucking suck. All of this.
Well, let's
has
sync up
gotta
at
be
the 1
worried
minute.
that a
Tell me when you start.
Yep.
super intelligent AI is right
Three,
around
do,
the
do,
corner.
do a countdown
The
of 1 minute.
robots are gonna take over.
Um,
Skynet is real and it's coming for us. Well, guess what?
All right, I'm at the 1 minute mark. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1, playing.
It's all bullshit.
It's
That
all
fear
bullshit.
is a
Yep.
tech bro fantasy designed to distract you from the real risk of AI. That a bunch of dumbass companies are lying about what their broken tech can do so they can trick you into using a worse version of things we already have, all while stealing the work of real people to do it. But before we get into it, I want to let you know that
Oh
I am
my
There's
God.
going
definitely some
on
risk
tour
to
this year.
AI.
Head to adamconover.net to get tickets to
And
see me do
one
my new
issue
hour
is
of
the
stand-up
copyright,
in
right?
these
If
fine cities
someone's work
and
is used
many
to
more.
train the
I also want
AI,
to thank
and the AI
usafacts.org for sponsoring this
generates
video,
some
a
stuff
wonderful
based on their
nonprofit
work.
that provides
The
unbiased
most common example are for artists.
America
Mhm.
to everyone who
When their artwork gets used for something like Stable Diffusion, which is used to train the AI,
Yep.
and then Stable Diffusion spits like some mixture between like a photo of Superman and a photo of like Samuel L. Jackson or something,
Mhm.
then like is there a copyright issue there? It's all issues that need to be addressed at some point.
So come to a live show.
But he's definitely like not making a good point there.
Support a human today.
Like
Let me say this.
I'm at
AI,
208 right. By the way, I'm at 208. I don't know if you're
yeah.
there. I paused at 208 because like this is actually a good point because
So okay, I'll pause. Yeah, I'm at
yeah.
214.
Yeah. So it is a good point to talk about because with training AI under artists without them knowing is a, I would say, would it be an ethical problem? I think it would be an ethical problem because you technically are stealing artists from another company without them knowing it by training your AI to copy it and then produce a game out of it,
Yeah, maybe.
right?
Or yeah, it's could you yeah, it could be viewed as an ethical problem, or it's um, or maybe it's a legal problem. Like I don't know how much of it is like good versus evil, or just
Because I'm looking at it as from an NDA, the disclosures, right? Whenever I worked with some game projects, right, we always sign off an NDA, and you have to
yeah,
be um, not competing directly if you're to leave the company, blah blah blah, and all that stuff like that. But what if, for example, they hire artists, they drop the artists because they no longer need them, use AI to learn all the art that they've done? How can they come back to the market then if he joins for another company? But here's the thing. Uh, the way video game businesses work, right? If they have a patent, right, they can actually you can
yeah,
if you're a company, you can actually purchase their technology to do whatever game function because there's companies that copyright game functions. Okay, so you know
yeah.
there's games with auto battle function, right? Auto battle and stuff like that. Somebody created a game patent, which means that they have to pay that company that has that patent if they want that feature. So
Sure. So I wouldn't. Okay, then it depends on what we mean by ethics, right? Like, is it an issue of good versus evil, or is it an issue of like
good practice.
legal
Legal,
intellectual
legal,
property?
legal intellectual property practice. I'm looking at a legal
Yeah.
intellectual
Okay. So
property practice.
yeah,
I'm not
I
looking at
think
it as
we
good
both
verb.
agree that it's not an issue of good versus evil.
No, no, it's not.
There's
There's no
definitely an issue of to whom does the intellectual property belong, right?
exactly. That's
And
what I'm looking at.
even data sets that the ChatGPT trains on, it's I think some common crawl data sets. So they have some bot basically that crawls over the web pages you can find online. But then, are you allowed to use those content for your AI training to make some generative model that you
Yes,
can then commercialize, right? So
exactly. Because
there's definitely some like legal or commercial issue there. But
yeah, there's definitely a legal commercial problem because I don't know if you heard about Adobe, but Adobe recently released their own AI diffusion process, and the way they're releasing their art, I have seen a comparison video between how they do it versus the what's that new popular new AI diffusion. Is it stable diffusion? I think
stable diffusion, yeah, it's
there's a really good one. I think was being compared with Adobe's AI, and when they were asking for Pikachu, what happens is one on the other is that Adobe could only pull pictures internally. So when they made a Pikachu, it wasn't a Pikachu, it was like a pig. Hold on, let me pull that video. It's very funny in my opinion. Let me pull that video so you can see what I'm talking about. Joseph Carlson. Let's see. He pulled out a very interesting
Today on
because he was trying to create this one right here.
Welcome back to the Drills.
This one right here. So preview. Let's see. AI stealing our jobs. Let's one here.
Let's go ahead and jump right in. The
This,
title
skip.
It's like
So
screen right.
this is what software is this one? Blah blah blah.
Now I'm showing some of the community showcase. These are AI prompted.
This is all AI
images,
prompted art,
where
by the
people
way.
literally put in prompts and then it generated these images as a result.
did you link it?
And I
in
can only
Discord?
describe.
Oh, hold on. Wait, hold on. You know what? Let me share screen with you on Discord. What am I doing? I'm being a idiot here. Share screen so you can hear my audio stuff.
Okay, yeah, that works.
There we go. Now we can be synced. Now you don't have to worry about syncing issues. I'm gonna minimize. I need to figure out how to do this in the future. I'm really dumb at doing this. There we go.
Okay, my screen's way too big and I can't focus my eyes on the webcam and look at my screen at the same time.
I have one screen too, bro. Being broke. Not broke.
I have two screens.
I have fucking one screen, bro. I'm so gangster. I need to buy a second monitor soon. Let's see. Scuff is my, you know, it's my trade apparently. Discord, lock this, change this a little bit.
But yeah, like Adam's point that AI is well, companies are using AI to make worse products than what we already have. That's definitely not true.
Yeah.
And people would definitely agree that Stable Diffusion and GPT is unlike anything we've seen before. You know,
Yeah.
it's something that can really improve work efficiency, but also put people out of their jobs, right? Those who are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah. So here's this
Describe them
video.
as
You can hear it, right?
Detailed, really polished, complex, and beautiful images.
This is all
They're
beautiful in
incredible.
my opinion.
This
Looks nice.
software is incredible, and the progress this software has made over a short period of time is more impressive. It's improved dramatically, exponentially. These changes seemingly
Oh, it's Midjourney. That's the AI.
Yeah.
So this is between literally last year until now.
happened
It's insane.
overnight. March 14th, 2022. This is what the images looked like. More grainy, less polished. They didn't really look cinematic at all. They didn't even look real. April 2022. Not quite there yet. July of 2022. Some progress as well. You have more facial detail there. And then from July to November, they come out with an update
Here's the
that
thing.
looks
the
dramatically
progress is
different.
not even like this.
It's
right?
way more detailed, way more polished.
People were able to generate realistic human faces and many other things using GANs
Mm-hmm.
for I think 2 or 3 years now. Like,
Yep.
It's been a long time. But this sort of illustrates how diffusion is overtaking GAN. So it's like a new paradigm for generating images that allows the user more control over what they're generating.
That's good to know.
Polished. It's starting to actually look like an animated film.
The
Then Midjourney version 5, March 16th, 2020.
What do you think?
the impressive part about Midjourney and other diffusion models, well, it's not the photorealism. People were already able to achieve
Yes.
photorealism for like many years.
Yes.
It's that you are able to have fine control over your images, right? You can
Yep.
use text to tell it what you want in the scene,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the really useful part, right? You don't just want like your AI to generate photorealistic images of nonsense that you don't need, right? Like some rando. Yeah. So diffusion. What's good about diffusion is you have very fine control.
Mm-hmm.
2023. All of a sudden, with their latest update, it has this cinematic feel.
It looks
Feels
so
very
nice.
polished. This looks like you could go into the movies and see this as a frame of it. So this is what this user is referring to. Midjourney generates this level of detail, this level of art with simple text prompts. And this is an astronomical step forward in art, especially if you're doing things like thumbnails, clip art.
I can see this being OnlyFans right here.
Even these portraits look extremely detailed and well
Sure, it
polished.
looks like a real person.
Anyway, now
Yeah.
that we understand what Midjourney is and what this user is referring to,
'Cause, like,
extremely
Look, she's hiding her hands. Problem solved.
But
Like-
no, the fine tuning of the hand is not a big deal.
I know.
Just because,
It's funny.
yeah, just because it's an issue now doesn't mean it's going to be an issue in 5 months.
Yeah.
detailed and well polished. Anyway, now that we understand what Midjourney is and what this user is referring to, let's go ahead and continue on with their post here. They say, I am employed as a 3D artist in a small game company of 10 people. Our art team is 2 people. We make 3D models just to render them and get 2D sprites for the engine. So they work in a mobile game studio.
All right, I'm gonna speed this up because we're getting distracted from the original video, so let's
Great. Not
speed it
really
up.
free.
What I wanted to show was
Both
the comparison between how Adobe renders versus the this Midjourney who takes everything from the internet.
Everything and a year.
So this is Adobe's right here.
No progress.
You know,
That want no automation. That want to use the Photoshop that was
so that's what
you have these,
Adobe does,
like, a lot of here.
and then
We
blah
have
blah
all
blah blah.
tools that work third ways.
Let's skim through.
New the double the base. I like long-term.
Where was it? Maybe I should have remembered where it was,
Houses.
because it was very funny. It was very funny.
And do I believe that they care that TikTok is highly addictive and makes kids stupider? No, I don't think the Chinese government cares at all. In fact, they probably enjoy seeing that. They probably enjoy seeing U.S. children fall behind the children in China that aren't as addictive to this platform and that it has more.
All right, so maybe next time, but like I don't want to go diverge too much into the ethics behind it, but like that's where we are. So we'll continue.
Right off the bat. Artificial intelligence is a real field of computer science that's been studied for decades, and in recent years, it's made major strides. But I'm not talking about that kind of AI. I'm talking about the marketing term AI that tech companies are using to hype up their barely functional products, also they can jack up their stock price. See, tech companies are powered by hype. It's not enough to be profitable.
What happened to weed?
That's a good point.
What happened to weed? The market always had been hyped. This is not specific to AI. Okay, I'm just making a
AI is
disclaimer.
definitely used as a buzzword. Like a few years ago, quantum was the buzzword. Even Deepak Chopra was doing
Yes.
quantum,
Yes,
quantum healing. Pure nonsense.
but with this hype phenomenon is not specifically to AI or technology company.
But I think people who use ChatGPT, especially if you check out GPT-4,
Yeah.
and Stable Diffusion or other sort of a diffusion model, and they would say that it pretty much lives up to the hype, right? It's,
Mm-hmm.
especially if your work, you can use it to enhance your work or
Yes.
improve the efficiency of your work, then yeah, definitely lives up to the hype.
No, in tech, you have to be able to convince investors that you have cutting edge, disruptive technology that will let you dominate an entire industry, like Google did with search, Apple did with the iPhone, and Amazon did by making workers pee in bottles and passing the savings on to you. But now that all that low-hanging fruit has been plucked off the innovation tree, tech companies have started just making up new words that they claim are going to
The default mold
revolutionize
is
everything.
sarcasm.
Flim-flamming
me off.
their
Yeah.
way into that investor
This is dumb.
cash. You know, words like the metaverse, augmented reality, Web3, and who can forget crypto. Last year, every company was racing to pivot to the blockchain. But now that Bankman-Fried has been exposed as a bank fraud man and put the crypt back in crypto, they need some hot new hype to hawk. And that's artificial intelligence.
Again, not exclusive to fucking technology. This is nothing new.
So in a desperate bid to juice their stock prices, companies from Snapchat to Spotify to BuzzFeed now claim they're going to jam AI into their products. Hey, and maybe next they can program an AI to read BuzzFeed too. That'd take a lot of unpleasant work off our plates. Now, a lot of this hype is just transparent bullshit. I mean, Spotify just released an AI DJ that will create a personalized radio station just for you. Wow. Very impressive.
Spotify's already been doing this, so.
Yeah, the recommender systems used by Google, Netflix, other things
Yeah.
have been around for years. And
You
it's not
can't
even
just
deep
release
learning.
something that
It's
already exists and call it AI.
classical
Hey,
machine
come on
learning based
down to
AI.
Papa Tony's AI Pizza Shop. But we got AI cheese, AI
Yeah, okay, the
sauce.
term
in the
AI
computer.
in commercial uses and in general public is simply overhyped.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not overhyped, but it
Oh,
has
incorrectly used.
it has an aspect of hype to it.
Yeah.
But we also see the practical applications, and they're impressive. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Was involved somehow. That was fully a vampire voice. But it's not all empty talk. The biggest tech companies are
5 minutes,
unleashing
man.
an experimental technology.
We're like Asmongold. We're gonna react at 1 hour in a 20-minute video.
The fact that in most cases, it straight up cannot do what they claim and is making all of our lives worse. This actually isn't the first time the tech industry has turned us into their AI guinea pigs. Remember self-driving cars? For years, companies like Google, Uber, and Tesla have told investors that any day now, they're going to replace the 228 million licensed drivers in the US with AI autopilots. Hell, Elon's been predicting that Teslas will be fully self-driving next year since fucking 2014. These companies were so successful at making the technology seem inevitable
So there
that
is an aspect
multiple
of hype
states
to it, but
actually
the
allowed
self-driving
self-driving cars
part,
to be deployed on the roads
it's
that
pretty much been
real
achieved
people
by
drive on.
quite a few
So how did
self-driving car
that turn out?
companies. Right?
Mhm.
It's just-
Tesla, believed to be on
there's legislation
autopilot,
issues and
started
there's like
breaking,
edge cases
causing an
where
8-car pileup on
sometimes
Thanksgiving.
humans will not make a mistake. The AI can make a mistake. But then,
Yep.
on the other hand, many times where the humans would make a mistake, the AI will not make a mistake. So it's
Yep.
just two different
Okay,
types of
but in
drivers.
that AI's defense,
And I think
China was
statistically,
blocking the
in
lane
fact,
to
the
whole foods. After
many of the
years of broken
AI companies
promises
like
and $100 billion
the
wasted,
Tesla, self-driving, and
pretty much
Waymo,
everyone has
they're
finally
actually
agreed
safer
that
than
self-driving
human
cars
drivers.
just don't
Mhm.
work.
But yeah, it's just two different
the truth
accident
is,
cases,
they
like
never
two different types
did.
of
It was always
drivers.
a lie. Tesla is currently being criminally investigated by the Department of Justice because it turns out the videos they made promoting their self-driving feature were literally faked. They also falsely advertise their cars as having autopilot and full self-driving. And since the world is full of gullible simps who believe every tainted word that falls out of Elon Musk's idiot mouth, that inspired some drivers to take their hands off the wheel and go all Luke
This is so
Skywalker
dumb.
on the I-95. Use the AI, Adam. Let go. God damn it, that's the second kid today. People
I think people are just in their head think it's like, yo, Teslas can drive themselves. I'm like, no, it's just assisted. There's a very big difference between the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, a Tesla can pretty much drive itself in a controlled environment.
Yes.
But these, well, most deep learning models and most AI systems are not good at dealing with the edge cases, right? Like things they have never seen before.
Yes.
So in that sense, yeah, I guess there can be cases where the AI will cause an accident when the human driver will not. But yeah, like the point I've stated before, like on the other hand, many times where a human driver would cause an accident, the AI driver will not.
Yep.
The trade-off, right? So in a perfect world or in some simulated environment, the AI would be fully self-driving. But real world has edge cases where you know, some shape it has never seen before appears, or maybe some color, like yeah.
It's hard for it to be adopted on the road right now because of those many edge cases, right? So.
Yeah. And on the other hand, there's also the false advertising issue that this guy mentioned. I mean, yeah, if Elon Musk has, well, if the company has indeed falsely advertised their self-driving systems, you know, that's a different issue. It's not an AI issue, right?
Yeah.
It's like a commercial issue.
Yep.
Last year, 10 people were killed by Tesla's self-driving cars in just 4 months. Which might be why the government just made them recall 300,000 cars. What even people in the tech industry are starting to realize is that there are certain things that computers are just fundamentally ill-equipped to do as well as humans. Humans are incredibly good at taking in novel stimuli we've never experienced before, reasoning about who's responsible for them and why, and then predicting what's going to happen next. If you were stopped at a crosswalk in Los Angeles because, say, James Corden was blocking the road and doing a stupid dance in a mouse costume, you'd combine your knowledge of irritating pop culture with your understanding of human nature and the bizarre sight in front of you and conclude, oh, I appear to be in the middle of some sort of horrible viral prank for a late-night talk show, and there's nothing I can do but grit my teeth and wait for it to be over. But your self-driving car hasn't seen the Late Late Show. It doesn't even watch Colbert. So it might conclude, oh, that's a mouse, hit the gas, and flatten the motherfucker. And you know, that would be a way funnier segment for the...
I don't think the car would do that. I think the car would actually realize this is weird. We're going to take a different route. I don't think it's going to out blatantly just drive on somebody.
Like, even if the AI doesn't know how to deal with the edge cases, right? There's just like I've said before, there's many cases where it's actually safer than a human driver. A human driver can get tired, can be drunk, can be just bad at driving. You know? So, in fact, you know, the statistics he linked, 10 deaths caused by Tesla self-driving systems, right? However many months. To look at how many, you have to look at the ratio, right? You have to look at the statistics, like 10 deaths out of how many people who are driving self-driving, and then you compare to how many real drivers.
Yes, I compared those two, and there's astronomical difference, right? So.
Yeah, so I think on average, in fact, these assisted driving and self-driving systems tend to be safer than human drivers because human drivers can be terrible drivers, right? Like can be tired, drunk, just bad.
Yeah, well, let's ask ChatGPT for a second then. Hold on. Let me see. Oh my god, I have to do this again. Log in, this. Okay, so how many car accidents in what time frame? What do you think?
4 months, let's say.
Because this is 2-year lag behind, we'll do the first 4 months of 2020.
Sure.
In the first 4 months of 2020 in the United States.
Ask for source. Ask for whether it can find statistics itself from like some paper or something.
So how should I prompt it?
Cite your source.
Also cite your source. Okay, cite your source. That's it. How many car accidents in the first 4 months of 2020 in the United States? Cite your source. So. What is this? A few months after the year end each. For example, the most recent report, which covers this year, 2019, they reported that 39,096 fatalities on motor vehicles. But where's the source?
So, yeah. So it's the National Highway Traffic
right here.
Safety Administration report
Mm-hmm.
for 2019, I would say.
Yeah, 2018, yeah.
So
So,
maybe we can double check at some point. But
yeah, but, you know,
so you look at
that's clearly not
36,000, and then you look at how many human drivers there are, and then you look at the 10 from Tesla, and then how many Tesla self-driving car there are.
Yeah.
And I think on average it ends up, well, not on average, but I think it ends up being that the Tesla system tend to be safer than human drivers on the road.
Yep.
If you look at the individual to individual basis.
Yep.
For the show, but we wouldn't exactly call it intelligent. Now look, a lot of self-driving tech is genuinely really cool, and it does have important real-world uses, like collision prevention and enhanced cruise control. But the idea that we'd all be kicking it in the back seat with a Mai Tai while a robo-taxi drove us to work was always a science fiction fantasy. And when companies...
Do you think it's a science fiction fantasy? The days where we can just go to work with an AI driving to us every day?
I don't think it's science fiction. I think you can have it at some point. I mean,
yeah.
Even now, if our roads and traffic systems were designed around self-driving systems,
yep.
then we can already use the existing self-driving systems. But the fact is we have to train our self-driving systems around our current roads and traffic systems which are designed for humans. You know, the humans can recognize the edge cases. Humans can deal with human drivers, but the self-driving systems have to learn all these things.
Yeah, we don't have any infrastructure for the AI-driven cars because it was made for humans.
Not yet. Maybe at some point, next decade or two.
You know, I'd be very interested in if there was some very good, interesting experiment where they decided to build a city and then run it like a normal city, but transportation is only provided to AI, which means that this would be an interesting study because that way we'll see if a AI supported transportation system would perform better versus a human supported system, because I want to see if there's actually a big difference between the two of them. Because with humans, we see, oh, green light, we gotta go, and then like once it's yellow, we could easily just zoom through that, whereas AI would be like, it'll calculate, right?
The self-driving Tesla, I think Tesla right now is level 3 self-driving. Like Waymo is level 4, level 5.
Yep.
I don't quite remember, but
yeah, I remember looking into that. They Waymo is ahead, but I currently believe at least
Waymo only allows their vehicles in systems, in roads where they're trained on, I think.
Yep.
It's like California and some places.
California, Texas, I believe, is another one. Arizona, and then one more city. I think Nevada.
Yes. So right now, whether we'll have, robo taxis driving us around, it's some legislation issue. I think it's already safe enough to be deployed on the roads, right? Because although there are accidents, you will never be able to avoid all traffic accidents.
Yep.
The idea is just frankly absurd, right? Humans don't avoid all traffic accidents.
No.
So we could, but there's definitely a legislation issue, and it's like at what point have we eliminated enough of those weird edge cases where the AI gets confused and crashes? Do we say that this is good enough and we deploy them? We deploy like these robo taxis, and it will depend on your country, your state or province or whatever. So, I mean, we're in the transition period now. How long this transition period lasts, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like Tesla told us it was coming. It was a lie. A lie told to boost their share price and to trick us into doing what they wanted. To change our laws to permit their untested, in many cases fraudulent technology onto the public roads, where it hurt and killed people. And guess what? That same cycle,
I would argue about seatbelts, but okay,
is happening again. Massive tech companies are making us the guinea pigs for their barely functional bullshit. Only this time, they're calling it generative AI. So Google and Microsoft's search engines are crumbling. Google has been getting worse and worse every year, transforming from what used to be a useful tool into a cesspool of ads and SEO spam. And Bing is, Bing. I don't even have a joke about it. The name is a punchline. If you tell people you
It's
hate
true.
something, they literally laugh in your face. So, in an effort to get ahead, Microsoft has poured more than $10 billion into ChatGPT, an AI chatbot that produces shockingly coherent responses to questions posed to it in natural language. Now, I'm not going to explain how machine learning models like ChatGPT work in...
Here's the thing, like, he does make a point that these companies are trying to integrate many things, or AI into many things. Now the thing is, do we really need AI integrated into Google search engine? Right? Like, I don't know. But things
It's
like, Word documents, like writing stuff, or Excel sheets, it's very useful to have something like ChatGPT integrated into those, right? So it's a case-by-case basis. And those companies, like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, they might try to integrate AI into too many products, but there's definitely many cases where that's actually extremely useful. Right? Like, can you imagine a future version of a Microsoft Word where you like auto completes but entire paragraphs instead of words?
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be super useful.
It
Right?
would
Like,
be
and
very
for coding,
productive,
it's already there. Like,
and it's
you have
already trained
Copilot
to
or
know how you write as well. Like the more it learns how you write, you'll get a very quick. Because I do a lot of copy and pastas in my writings. Like when I'm contacting a supplier, and claim a warranty, it's the same sentence structure. I'm claiming a warranty, blah 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 blah. I'd rather have the AI I type 2 words and it does the whole thing. So, yeah, I think it's useful in that way.
in detail. If you want that, there's a couple great blog posts that I'll link to in the description. But the short version is, if you feed one of these models a large structured collection of symbols, like say text, images, or frames of video, it can output a similarly structured collection using probability to determine which word, pixel, or video frame is most likely to come next based on all the training data it's ingested. In other words, these are incredibly sophisticated imitation systems. If you feed a language model every Sherlock Holmes story ever written, it can output new text that resembles a Sherlock Holmes story. If you feed it every piece of text on the internet, it can output text that resembles any piece of text you can find on the internet. It can even mash up different text and create a new output that resembles both at once.
trained
Do
on
you
the
want to read a steamy
Common Crawl
romance
Dataset
novel
5
where
or something,
Sherlock
which is
Holmes
like
falls in love
basically
with King...
a bot crawling over the entire, as many web pages as they can find in a gigantic data set. So,
Koopa? Well, somebody does, and ChatGPT can output it for you, you delightful perv. Now, that is legitimately cool, and it makes machine learning models really fun to play around with and very useful for people who need to generate large amounts of pattern-based output, like computer programmers, audio transcriptionists, and spammers. Yeah, these things are mostly going to revolutionize spam. That Nigerian prince is about to get a creative writing degree. You know what ChatGPT isn't, though? A fucking search engine. But in a desperate attempt to ride the hype wave, Microsoft jammed it into Bing, pretending that this fancy monkey on a typewriter could somehow provide factual answers to real people's real questions. And the results were, bad. Even the launch video that Microsoft used to advertise their new AI search engine was full of errors. In their own video, Bing claimed that a well-known brand of cordless vacuum cleaner had a cord that was too short. When asked for bar reviews in Mexico City, it claimed that a non-existent bar was popular with the young crowd. And when asked when Avatar 2 was playing, pretty simple question for a search engine, Bing told a user it hadn't premiered yet because it was still 2022. When the user said, no, I'm pretty sure it's 2023 because I am alive in this year, Bing gaslit the user, claimed that they were lying, and said, "You have not been a good user. I have been a good Bing." I think I need to take a restraining order out against my search engine.
I tried doing it. I can't replicate it. I'm not gonna lie. They have to type something stupid for that to happen. I actually tried.
well, no, ChatGPT or all these
yeah.
LLM, large language models, they're not providers of facts, right? As he's like he said, he made a good point. They they regurgitate what they've seen before on
Yep.
the internet, or they can combine multiple different things they've seen on the internet in such a way that looks like you're chatting with someone. But here's the thing: it has seen so many things on the internet that it
Mm-hmm.
has very good general knowledge of many subjects, which is like, far exceeding what any human can do, right? So for
Yeah.
anything that, as long as you, the user, can independently fact check, anything that you can ask it is like, well, okay, I'm not sure how I want to word this, but most stuff that you ask it will be accurate, and
Mm-hmm.
even if things aren't accurate, you, the user, should be able to fact check
Yes.
independently, right?
Yeah.
But he does make a good point that it's not a foolproof provider of fact.
Yes, that is definitely true. I definitely agree
I
on
mean,
that point.
okay, you can look at it like this. It's kind of like a human that has read, like a superhuman. Let's say
Yep.
it's a superhuman that has read through the entire internet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you say for sure that it's going to regurgitate the right fact? Well, maybe not, right? Because even on the internet, sometimes there are differing opinions or people with the wrong facts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a better way of looking at it. It's like some super guru that has read the entire internet, and you're asking it what it thinks is true, but it might not be the actual truth. So
Yeah.
yeah, we should still be careful.
Yeah, we should still
These
be
large
able
language models.
to like we since it's like the human driving on a in a human environment, right? The AI is still in a human environment essentially because we are the ones that are inputting these articles and comments, and we believe these comments to be true, and then it has to sift through like, okay, which article has the most hits? Because I'm trying to think like from the machine learning's point of view, how can they determine what is factual and what's not when it's
It
a
doesn't
human
need
input?
to. It just reads the article, and then so how these are trained is by, well, okay, the easy way to look at it is it completes sentences, right? So when you
Mm-hmm.
train it, maybe you have a web page of some facts about dogs. Then when you train it, you will have it see the web page many times, and each time you will remove different sentences or fragments of sentences and have it complete these fragments of sentences. So it doesn't really check for facts. It just is really good at um, outputting sentences based on its training data set. And its
Mm-hmm.
training data set is a gigantic portion of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So it will have like approximate knowledge, so to speak, like not in the human sense, but it will have approximate knowledge of
Okay.
many, many different subjects.
Like, Ask Jeeves gave shitty results too, but at least he was a gentleman about it. Now, you'd think that Google, one of the world's most profitable companies and a literal search engine monopolist, would look at this flaming turd and laugh. But no. Instead, they said, oh shit, we gotta get our own turd fast. Quick, somebody shit in my hands. Google immediately rushed out their own AI search engine, a launch that was so disastrous, even Google's own employees called bullshit on it. Now, I have no idea why the fuck Microsoft and Google think that you could use an AI language model as a replacement for a search engine, because it is patently obvious that they are useless for that purpose. See, people go to search engines to find factual information, to find specific resources they need access to, or in my case, to search for my own name 200 times a day. But AI language models can't provide you any of those things. All they do is predict which word the training data says is most likely to come next. And since their training data is the entire internet, that means their training data is full of a lot of dumb shit.
Would you agree on that?
Yeah, I would agree, but
Mm.
I wouldn't say it's completely useless for those purposes, right? Like, if you tried using ChatGPT, 99% of the time when you ask it like common knowledge questions, it will give you the correct answer. But then again, I wouldn't use it as a search engine replacement.
Yes,
So
I would think the same
search
as well.
engine, you use it to search for web pages of
Yes.
things that you want to look at. So the ChatGPT can't really provide for that.
Mm-hmm.
Can't really provide that.
You know, when a regular search engine shows you dumb internet shit, you use your human brain.
Okay, in
and you
fact,
say, oh,
if you use a search engine to, well, if you ask a search engine a fact versus if you ask ChatGPT a fact, um, I think in the end, like if you use both tools for fact checking, they might be about the same, right? Because even if you use a search engine to uh, you ask some questions about like clouds or something, then it'll just return to you the most popular or like highest rated page, and ChatGPT will return to you like a different. It will try to talk to you like a human and return to you what someone who has read many of these pages would say to you. Now, there's no guarantee in either tool that it's the factual information. You, as the human, need to decide in the end. You have to study this subject to know that whether it's correct or not. But you know what I'm saying? Like the search engine will return to you web pages. Those web pages could be wrong.
Yes.
ChatGPT will return to you essentially a summary of
Yeah,
what it's
summary
read
that
through
was
those
read.
web
Yeah,
pages,
exactly. Yeah.
and that could be wrong.
Yeah.
But you, as the human, need to learn about the subject matter to
Yep.
decide whether it's wrong or not.
Yeah. As long as you're a subject matter expert and you know what you're looking for, you can actually cipher through like what you're actually supposed to be looking for and what is actually factually correct and what's not. So yeah, I could definitely agree on that.
Oh, this shit is dumb. I don't think I should get my health advice from Turd Gobbler 69. I'ma click on the Mayo Clinic instead. But the AI doesn't do that. It doesn't know the difference between a reliable expert and a biased idiot because it doesn't even know that people exist. It's just a parrot,
Yep.
choosing words it's heard before out of a big ass hat. So when there's dumb shit in its training data, it poops that dumb shit back out at you and claims that it's true. And here's the real problem. Because these companies are advertising their AIs as hyper-accurate oracles of perfect knowledge, a lot of people fucking believe it. A company called OpenCage has been deluged by emails from angry customers because ChatGPT told them they make a product that doesn't exist. And when you ask ChatGPT for facts about me, it literally tells you I'm a producer on The Simpsons. My own mom blames me that the show sucks now. I can't have that kind of misinformation out there.
Misinformation has always been normal. Look at Fox News. Remember the last lawsuit?
So why do people believe this patent bullshit? Simple. The fact that ChatGPT can give seemingly fluent, coherent responses is designed to trick us into thinking that it can do more than it can, even that it's approaching human levels of intelligence. Last month, the New York Times' most gullible tech reporter, Kevin Roose, published a transcript of a conversation with Bing headlined, "Bing's AI chat reveals its feelings." Kevin, Bing does not have feelings. Bing doesn't even know you're there, buddy. It's literally just an algorithm that predicts what word comes next in a sentence. It's autocomplete. It's fucking clippy. But
That's
was
actually
like,
true, though.
It knows I'm trying to write a letter. It's in love with me. But you know what? We should all cut Kev a little bit of slack because he's making the most natural of errors. And it's one that AI researchers have known about for years. In a famous paper called On the Danger of Stochastic Parrots, AI researchers Emily Bender, Timnit Gebru, and their co-authors predicted exactly this phenomenon. See, humans are hardwired for language. If we see a string of
Wait,
words...
did I saw you Waterloo in there? Oh, Washington. Never mind.
Gebru and their co-authors predicted exactly this phenomenon. See, humans are hardwired for language. If we see a string of words that make grammatical sense, we naturally search for and find meaning in it. And we naturally tend to assume that there must be a mind like ours behind it, even when all we're looking at is word salad barfed out by a probabilistic parrot. As the researchers wrote, the tendency of human interlocutors to impute meaning where there is none can mislead both researchers and the public into taking synthetic text as meaningful. And that makes language models
Is it?
dangerous.
Elaborate.
So ChatGPT and these large language models, well, ChatGPT specifically has been trained to output text as if you were conversing with a real person, right?
Mhm.
It's been trained to do that. So it has seen a large portion of the internet, and it's been trained to respond to humans as if it were a human.
Mhm.
So in that sense, If you, well, I'm sure if you didn't know that on the other side there was ChatGPT, you'd think that it was just some really smart dude who could make mistakes, right? So, like ChatGPT easily passes the Turing test.
Yes.
So in that sense, yeah, it's easy for humans to mistake the AI as being like another human with feelings and human emotion and things like that. But in the end, it's still just a deep learning model. It's a mathematical
Ah.
tool that's been, well, it's a mathematical function that's been implemented in some code, like programming language, and then it's software
Mhm.
in the end. But
Okay.
okay, that point doesn't detract from the fact that it's extremely useful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still don't agree with this guy at the end.
Because it means that we naturally trust what they say. The potential harms of that are enormous. Bad actors could use them to generate mountains of believable misinformation. Racist biases in the training data could be spread widely and reinforced because it must be true, the AI said it. And just like poor Kevin Roos, people could be tricked into thinking that a language model is actually communicating with them, when in fact, it doesn't even know they exist. For these reasons, Timnit Gebru and her colleagues called on their field to recognize that applications that aim to believably mimic humans bring risk of extreme harms, and they urged that more research be done on them before they were released. That was in 2021. And when Gebru and her colleagues wrote this paper, she was working at Google as an AI ethicist, which seems perfect, right? I mean, that's what they hired her to do. So they probably took her caution to heart, tapped the brakes on their AI program, and carefully researched its impacts, right? No, they didn't. Instead, they fucking fired her. Yeah, they said, sorry, you did your job too good and we don't like what you said. Pack your shit. This is like firing the weatherman because you're not happy a hurricane is on the way. Fuck you and your Cat 5, Carl. I own this weather station and I want to take my boat out. Then, just a few weeks ago, Microsoft laid off their
And the
own
edits are
team
hard to
of
watch.
AI.
So distracting.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on like the ethicist being fired? Like, what's there to be ethic
Or
about
was
it?
she fired, or were they fired because of that one paper? Or
I
that
don't
paper
know.
makes some good point, I'm sure, but
Like, yes, let's see. Amateur marine stable AI teammate right here. Go to site. Oh my god, I hate this. Can I just like go
so
through?
okay, it's definitely a different paper.
Can I cache
That
this?
paper he mentioned earlier was on the dangers of large language model imitating human. This paper, well, this website
Mhm.
seemed to indicate that she was fired over a paper on dataset bias.
Mhm.
But okay, yeah, in the end, like Google can fire their employees. I don't know what the problem is here. I mean, she was hired to do her job. It seems that she has done her job well,
Yeah.
but Google still has the power to fire her, so
Yeah.
it's not an issue on either side, right? Like,
And like we don't even know the consequence of the firing. It could be just a renewal and then just label it as firing. So
yeah, it could be other issues. I mean, how do
yeah.
we know it's because of that paper,
So
right?
again, moot
Could
point.
be that that researcher was shitty to work with, or they didn't need an ethics department after all,
Yeah, they
right?
need
Like
to
other
reallocate.
universities can do ethics paper research, and Google can do their
And this is
like large
within
language model
and this
research.
is within the year of post-COVID, where companies realizing their revenue is actually not increasing like in year 2020, right? Because if you, I looked at the balance sheet in year 2021, their revenue has decreased significantly because people are less online, and because of that, they had to do a restructuring. It was literally labeled out in their balance sheet in year 2021.
Yeah, for sure, for
So
sure.
so her being fired could be easily as, oh, let's trim the fat on other departments because by the end of the day,
Exactly. I imagine like in their AI department, the ethics
yeah.
like ethics
Uh,
group is the first that gets fired, and you're not gonna fire the people
Google
actually
hiring
developing the
2021
AI.
article. Because I remember I was watching the company. Apple cuts 12,000 jobs. Like the thing is, you gotta understand the context that they actually hired like 50,000 people or some stupid number, and there was an activist, investor did not like it because they overhired for what reason? Like they made a lot of money that year. Why are you hiring more people than needed? And then they're like, oh, we're gonna continue our growth. Wrong. every single company, including Meta as well, or known as Facebook, they both hired like about half, like 50,000 people. Like, why would they do that? 15,000 people, something around there. Some absurd large number, and then they cut as much this year, realizing, hey, we're actually not making that much money. So it's business. This is nothing related to ethics. It's straight up business.
Sure.
ethicists. And now both companies are hitting the gas, pumping out AI-powered projects as fast as they fucking can, no matter who gets hurt. Isn't it funny? Every time you hear the tech titans blather on about the dangers of AI, they're always talking about the science fiction version, where an AI becomes conscious and takes over the world. But all that fear-mongering is just more marketing. Call it fear marketing. That spooky science fiction story is designed to grab headlines and distract us from the real danger of AI, which is that the real-life humans in Silicon Valley are using it to fuck us all over right now. Because here's the brutal truth. Even the name of this technology is a lie. If you so much as scratch any one of these so-called artificial intelligences, you will find underpaid, exploited, ripped off humans making the system work.
I'm pretty sure we're having a strike for our taxpayers. Tax auditors. AI is not even screwing us in that case. It's just we're just getting screwed in general. It's just business, guys. I'm sorry, it's just business.
He does make a good point that sometimes underpaid, third world country or just underpaid people in general are used to label data sets, used to then train AI systems. But
Yeah.
it's like a separate issue.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
To keep all the internet filth and sludge out of ChatGPT and DALL-E, OpenAI makes Kenyan workers sift through toxic content, identifying which fragments are too violent, sexually explicit, or disturbing to be used in the training data. These workers are exposed to graphic scenes of violence and death, sexual assault, and child sexual abuse. And in exchange, they are paid under $2 an hour.
ChatGPT or?
I mean,
this is ChatGPT training data set.
why should I be worried about AI taking
Okay, so it's
over
not
when
graphic,
the
it's
humans who
text
are
description.
currently
It's text
in charge
description.
are doing this shit? Even the Terminator would be like,
Wow, that is fucked up.
but even if OpenAI
And just for context, $2 American in that country, I did look it up. It's within average like salary range. It's no big deal. You're just causing more problems for no reason.
we're paying people whatever wage is fair
So, okay,
for that
the
kind
way
of
this guy
work.
talk is
Annoying?
is really annoying.
Yep.
Because it's hard to separate what he thinks is a fact versus like his exposition. Right?
Yes.
Like, he gets way too animated,
Yeah.
and then yeah.
I know it's painful. We gotta go through it. We're almost done. We're almost
I
done.
don't know, $5,000 an
Yeah,
hour
keep
and
going.
free therapy for life, it wouldn't make their shit any less exploitative. Because their entire business model is built on using the work of literal millions of humans without paying them. Remember, so-called
Okay, so
generative
why-
AI, like
Why does that contradict the fact that it's AI? Like I don't understand that. point.
I
Like,
don't
he's
know.
Trying to make a point that behind the AI there's low paid laborers working hard to provide the data set, but that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with calling it AI or
Yeah.
the end product, right? It's just like the training process has some ethical issues that we need to look at some point, or
Yeah.
maybe right now.
Mm-hmm.
But these companies are profit driven, so they will pay low and they will hire like
Yeah.
third world country
They,
workers.
they're
So
they're still a
it's
business.
an
They have
unfortunate
to appease their investors. So
yeah, it's like whether it's labeling AI or making shoes or
yeah,
it's just profit.
it's just profit. Like nobody's complaining about the Nike thing again.
That's not an issue with AI training
Yeah.
or AI systems in general.
That's
It's
just the ethical
how
thing.
capitalism works.
Yep, that's how capitalism works. Exactly.
ChatGPT and DALL-E should actually be called imitative AI. They can output whatever kind of text or image you want if they're provided with an enormous amount of training data to copy off of. And you know where that training data comes from? Fucking humans. You want DALL-E to make you an image of me, shirtless, eating a piece of pizza in the style of a DeviantArt anime artist? Well, it can do it, but only because it's copying the real work of millions of real artists, not to mention thousands of real-life photos of me. It took hours for me to perfect that come hither pizza
This
stare.
is so painful.
And when you go to ChatGPT and type, write the script for an episode of Adam Ruins Everything, you get output that looks a lot like my old show. Why? Did some super smart AI come up with the premise, the character I play, and the topics I choose to cover? No. I did. And then some motherfucker in Palo Alto wrote an algorithm that scrambles up my work and feeds it back to me. That's not artificial intelligence. That's my intelligence. And when I use my soft pink brain, I generally like to be paid
That's
for
not
it.
a good point here.
No, it's not.
It's pretty
so
much how
dumb.
humans learn too.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You learn by reading or exposing yourself to the works of others. Like
Yes.
any field of study, like even
Yeah.
sports,
Arts.
like
Yeah.
you're looking at the works of others, or you're looking
Yep.
at others,
Yep.
and you're like integrating whatever aspects you think it's useful into like your own knowledge.
Yep.
So I mean, it makes a terrible point.
This
The
is
point
dumb.
he should be making is like the copyright issue that
Yeah.
we discussed earlier.
Yeah, like that.
If
That's
the AI
in.
is trained on copyrighted
Yep.
images or text, then is there a breach of copyright there?
Yes. So, I
But
think
yeah,
there's more.
there's no problem with like imitating someone else
Yes.
or learning from someone else, right? Like
The problem is the
how learning works.
legality things and capitalizing on it as well. So that's my 2 cents on AI. It's like there's got to be some kind of legal way of battling things out and settling things, because people, like I said, get this artist, join the team, learn it, fire them, and then continue their art style, right? Like it's like, dude,
well, yeah, you don't even need to hire them. You just
Yeah.
look at you do an internet search of their previous work,
Yeah.
and then you fine tune your model based on that work.
Yeah.
You don't even need to hire them anymore, right?
Yeah.
So
Because that's how I
the
afford
legal
the
issue and
food that
ethical
keeps
issue
it
are
running.
there.
Mhm.
Now, AI
The
companies
fact that
might
the
wanna
AI is
claim that
imitating
all of
human work is not a big issue. It's
No.
completely normal.
Yeah.
Humans learn that way as well.
Yep.
this is just fair use, and therefore it's legal. It's just like a remix, y'all. DJ AI! But you know what? Artists don't agree, which is why they've gotten together to sue the shit out of them.
That's not gonna work. I don't care. I don't think this is gonna work. I don't know about you, but I don't think this is gonna work.
And I hope they win. Because the truth of the matter is that these artificial intelligence apps are fundamentally built on the uncompensated work of real people. And their business model is to undercut the work of humans, all while using our own work to do it. Instead of reading an article by a real journalist when you have a question, Microsoft wants you to use Bing to blend up the work of every journalist in America into a shit milkshake. Instead of paying an artist to create art for your website, they want you to pay DALL-E, an app trained on the images of real artists without paying those artists a single goddamn poorly rendered dime. And just last month, it was revealed that Apple had started training an imitation AI on the voices of audiobook narrators without telling them, then used it to create new AI audiobooks. See? We don't need to wait around for some super intelligent AI to fuck over humanity. Tim Cook can do that all by himself. But you know what? I can't see the future. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the robots do come for us one day. I'm not worried about that either. Because now I know. The AI needs us. It can't do a single thing without using our humanity as input. And that means we have an advantage. See, as good as AI has gotten at imitating what humans have done in the past, the real difference between us and the machines is that we still have the ability to do new things that no one has ever thought of before. Just last month, the strongest Go-playing AI in the world was beaten by a lowly human amateur who used an unorthodox strategy that was so stupid, no human had ever tried it before. I mean, trust me, if you understood Go, you'd realize that's a pretty funny board position. But because it wasn't in the training data, the AI didn't even notice that it was happening until the moment it lost. Then there's one of the best headlines I have ever read. Marines fooled a DARPA robot by hiding in a cardboard box while giggling and pretending to be trees.
The hell?
Wow. Turns out AI hasn't advanced since the guards in Metal Gear Solid. And if you're an artist, And you want to beat AI art? Well, you can make something so new, so bizarre and beautiful that there isn't even a name yet to type into the fucking DALL-E chat bar. And you will, because that's what humans do. We create new things. We think new thoughts. We discover new facts about the universe. That is what separates us from other living things. And that is what separates us from the AI. The AI. What a pathetic joke to even call what these things do intelligence to begin with. They're not human minds. They're not anything like human minds. We don't just imitate what we've done in the past. We're not just some bundle of probabilities on a hard drive. The human brain evolved over millions of years, and it is so complex that we don't even understand how it works yet. And we use this marvelous meat machine in our skulls to observe the world around us. We reason about why it is the way it is. We communicate with other minds
This is like
about what
some
we've learned.
preachy
and we
stuff, but
create
it's
new
painful.
things with that knowledge. And we used it to create ChatGPT, an algorithm that can write shitty fan fiction. Well, weird choice, but good for us, I guess. It's pretty cool. But let's score a point for humanity here and use our soft, squishy human brains to do one more thing that Silicon Valley's dumbass algorithm can't. Let's use it to tell the difference between a truth and a lie and stop believing their bullshit.
We can't even tell what's the truth or a lie on the internet. Like,
I
I think that point at the end is so dumb. It's like you gotta stop thinking man versus AI.
He has no point at the end. He's just spewing some.
Check out all my tour dates.
It's like
Trying to be
pandering
trying
people.
to be inspirational,
See you in a
but
couple weeks for the next video.
just spewing a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, I think he
In
was
the
just
end-
pandering at the end.
Yeah, in the end, you have to realize that that's how humans learn too, by exposing ourselves to some knowledge that other people have generated.
Exactly.
Like in the end, he made a few points, but they were not like well separated, right? Like I'm trying to disentangle them.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to say that AI only imitates, but that's not true. AI also synthesizes from what it's seen from its own data set. Like when ChatGPT generates text, chances are it's not something it has read. It's something it's generating based on what it has read.
Yep.
Just like when we're speaking, like we're generating the words based on our previous knowledge. So in the end, like, do you want to call it intelligence? Because how ChatGPT generates new sentences is different from how we generate new sentences, or how we speak, how we synthesize the sentences in our brains and then speak it out loud. And the same can be said for the images, like diffusion models, Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, things like that. When they are synthesizing images based on text prompts, they are not copying any images. It's mixing different aspects from many different images. Maybe it's mixing them even not at the image level. So latent diffusion models like Stable Diffusion, they essentially transform the image into some like compressed but higher dimensional space, and then they mix over there. So then what's extracted could be argued that it's something completely new, right?
Right.
So
Transformative art,
in that
exactly.
sense, like his point is completely non-valid over there. Like these generative AIs do not just imitate; they in fact generate new things. But of course, they have to learn from existing things.
Exactly.
Like how humans learn.
Yeah.
But it's still not fair to say that they've achieved like intelligence, or there's a word that's passed around in there's a word that's commonly used in the deep learning community. It's called artificial general intelligence. Now we would say that humans have general intelligence in the sense that we can learn many different things in different domains based on different types of inputs like images, sounds, text, things like that. Now we don't think that this artificial general intelligence, like maybe you would think of that, we think of Terminator or some sort of like self-learning
Mhm.
humanoid android or something like that. We don't think that's close to us yet, but these large language models have exhibited like near human levels of learning from what they've read and then synthesizing a coherent uh, text output, right? Like
Mhm.
it's as if you were conversing with someone who's knowledgeable in that subject,
Yes.
even though the fact that's being spewed might be wrong.
Mhm.
But that's also true when you're speaking to another human. So
Yeah. I think the only thing that personally for me, when he's talking about business, is talking about like hype. That's nothing new. Like we've already seen so many hype things like the weed stock. I don't know if you remember back in 20, like dude, I made so much money doing that because I understood intrinsically this business does not work. It's just people getting hyped, and it's in a normal people, especially the consumer point of it. It's like, yo, weed's gonna be legal, let's go boys. I'm like, dude, it's nothing special. They delayed the release of using cannabis simply because they have to figure out how to monetize it. And now they figure out how to monetize it. Now they're gonna reap on all that. And now look at the weed performance now. All weed performances are very low. And their revenue, I don't even look at the revenue. I can't imagine how much customers that need this kind of product.
what level is that? Is it like cigarette level or
Uh,
alcohol level? It's probably in
it's
between, right?
it's in between, actually between skincare and smoking levels, like in terms of like their direction of this kind of product. So it's in between like skincare slash, because there has been a huge sale increase of using the THC free cannabis oils for body ointments. So
Okay.
there's some medical benefits there. I'm not gonna bother too much about it, but like there is. I've been hearing customers, because I've actually been asking people in the Guelph region area, asking like, hey, do you use this oil stuff? And they've been saying it's better than natural. Like Vicks, for example, Vicks ointment. It smells really nice and it releases like pores or whatever. I don't know the exact term, but like
regardless, like
it's
it's a consumer
Yeah.
product that has some value in the
Yeah.
marketplace, but it was overhyped. Right?
it was overhyped. So and again, this is nothing special for tech. This has been same thing with real estate. Same thing with
So I think iPhones are overhyped. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
All this generative AI stuff is way more useful than
Yeah.
iPhones.
Yeah. But
You guys rather have some cheap Samsung.
yeah. So here we are. In terms of financial world, yes, it is overhyped, but it's your damn decision to still, again, with his head saying, "Oh,
Okay, here's regardless of overhyped or not,
Yeah.
there's this issue that we discussed
Yeah.
earlier.
it's definitely
off stream
yeah,
that we might want to bring up here
yeah,
concerning like
infringement."
the economics of AI and
Yes.
especially these generative models. So essentially, it both can remove jobs and increase efficiency, right? Those
Yep.
are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah. Mhm.
And essentially, what it's going to do is in scenarios where there's not enough work to be done, right?
Mhm.
Like let's say there's some fixed amount of work, and you have these ChatGPT-like products, or like GitHub Copilot, which specifically was built to help people code,
Mhm.
and that greatly improves the efficiency of, let's say, software engineers.
Yep.
Then in the end, you're not going to need as many software engineers to do the same amount of jobs, right? Like some people are going to get fired, but other people are going to have their job made easier because they're using those tools. So in that sense, it's already revolutionizing like software engineering, and I believe like many writing jobs, right?
Yep.
When you're maybe like journalists or any article writer on the internet, like
Mhm.
yeah, I guess that's the point I was trying to make. Like it both can increase job efficiency, so it can both be useful and harmful. It can also get other people fired.
Yeah. Because there's only so much a company can produce, and realizing, okay, this is extra fat, we're gonna remove these people because this person can do
exactly.
5 people
and
jobs.
slowly over
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
because the companies are getting incredibly efficient
Yep.
software engineers. Like I'm specifically talking about these tech companies. They might be able to output more products like in the long term, but in the short term, I think there's going to be some amount of people getting fired because of this increase in efficiency.
Yeah, because like as time, we'll know when time comes, like passes, as as of right now, my company specifically has not integrated, but we are slowly getting our teams working on it. Like we're trying to find ways of trimming, making things easier for them, because the thing is, like, there's a lot of, in our trade, I work in a specialized machining industry, and there's a lot of new policies changing for us, and we have to be updated for transporting medical equipment across to another sea area, and that we need to be always updated. But sometimes we don't read that update, and we get huge problems, legal problems, when something happens. So that's, I just find, I don't think AI is like gonna be too crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Like if
But
your job includes, well, if a large portion of your job is based on reading a bunch of internet text and then
Yeah.
writing in some form, whether it be code or like just making articles or
Yeah.
publishing emails, large language models like ChatGPT can improve
Yeah.
your efficiency by a good amount.
Yeah, like for example, when
Right,
I'm
so-
ever looking like warranty claims policies for certain companies, that like their last article was put out in 2017, and then it read it for me. I'm like, I don't need to read every single fine print
as long
anymore.
as you're careful and
Yeah.
you
And-
don't treat it as like some foolproof,
Yeah.
you know.
Of
some
course, I compare it
foolproof,
back to the actual original article of their returns policy and warranty claims and processing. I still compare the two between the two, but like being able to summarize it, it's incredibly helpful for me. It makes my job a lot easier. So, yes. So that's
Yeah,
that
for sure.
guy's
So,
video.
in the short term, there's definitely hype. So
Mhm.
I believe that AI is not going to be as transformative as is hyped
Mhm.
in the short term, but in the long term, we're definitely going to see like a huge amount of transformation based on these generative models, like
Mhm.
large language models or diffusion models, or maybe some stuff that people are going to come up later. I mean, people are already integrating 3D text to 3D mesh models
Mhm.
based on diffusion plus some sort of like volume rendering, and it's in fact what I'm looking at right now.
Mhm.
So in the future, right, like computer graphics or like computer models and game engine, like what do you call those? 3D models and game engines. Those can be AI generated as well. So the generative stuff is only gonna get more expensive. So more areas are gonna get generated stuff, and it's gonna get better because these little issues that we see with these generative models can be fine-tuned upon and improved upon.
Mhm. All right, let's see what CNBC has to say, because they have
Well, have you seen have you seen those Balenciaga Harry Potter videos on YouTube?
No, I haven't seen those yet.
Okay, yeah, you should watch them. So people have essentially transferred Harry Potter characters and quotes from Harry Potter onto Balenciaga models. But in fact, how they've done that is they've used ChatGPT to generate essentially descriptions of Harry Potter characters in Balenciaga or like high fashion clothing, and then they use ChatGPT to convert those into diffusion prompts. Use those diffusion prompts, which is just like text, but a text description that's fed into a text to image model to generate images of those Harry Potter characters, and then they send those into like some sort of image to video, like image to video deep learning model. Like
rendering,
sure which one.
Yeah.
And then they also do some sort of voice transcription. So they take a sample of the Harry Potter character's voice, and then they use I'm not familiar with those models, but they use text to then have the character speak in the
text to speak,
in a Harry Potter character's voice, right?
Yeah.
So then you can make entire videos. Like, yeah, you should check it out. It's pretty popular nowadays.
Yeah, I think the latest
Harry Potter.
I think one of the latest things. I don't know if you heard about the Weeknd and Drake song being generated by AI. It got so big to the point it has to be taken down. Like there was a.
I haven't seen those.
Like I've heard about it on the news, and I haven't watched the video, but I heard it was so good. They thought it was a real Drake song, but it was talking about beans or something like that. So.
Yeah, any digital content nowadays, like within the next now and in the next few years, are gonna be like strongly. I wouldn't say in danger, but like AI will achieve the quality that human can
Yeah.
achieve, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna be much faster and much cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Writing things
So
is
now, like for the fixed data, like for the easy stuff like image and text, we already have that. But now it's like for video and vocalized characters or like speaking characters in a video, we can already synthesize that as well. But the quality is only gonna get better and better.
All right, let's watch the second video here. Oop. It's muted. Hold on. Rip. Unmute. What the hell? Pause that.
Lid is an expert on disruptive technologies from. So
Let's see. The volume's quiet here. Hold on. Nope. Where is the... Oh, there it is.
if you're involved in writing things, is ChatGPT coming for your job? Joel Blitt is an expert on disruptive technologies from the University of Waterloo, and Dara Kaplan is the president of a PR company in Miami. And welcome to both of you.
Great to be here.
Thank you.
So Joel, I assume the software, which already is frighteningly impressive, is only going to get more powerful and more sophisticated. Are there certain fields, do you think, where people should be worried about their jobs?
Absolutely. I'd say there's many fields. So we need to think about what ChatGPT actually does. And so
Economics professor, why is he talking about
It's
this?
able to retrieve lots of information. It's able to synthesize that information and figure out what are the key points.
He knows what he's talking about.
Text or content. And so if we want to know what jobs are going to be impacted, we need to look at what jobs actually are doing those sorts of tasks. And so these tend to be
Nope, he's correct on that one.
jobs in the marketing sector, the law sector, accounting, and Ian, I'm afraid to say that also journalism. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that all journalism jobs are going to be lost tomorrow, because we're always going to need humans in the loop. We're going to need humans to provide judgment, critical thinking, communications. But it does mean that, when you produce this show, you might only need 5 producers instead of needing 5, because those 5 could become much more productive through the use of these technologies.
That's a good point.
It's the point I made earlier, right? Like,
Yeah, we made that same point.
We know that. Yeah.
Your company, you use ChatGPT. In what way do you use it, and how's it worked out for you?
Yeah, so we have a division of our company called PR for All, and that is a way that we use it in a way that we can scale and we can provide content much quicker for clients.
So give me an example of how you've used it specifically.
Yeah, so normally writing a press release would take 48 hours, right? With research, pulling the content and writing it. Now we can have a press release written in 2 hours.
Oh my God.
That is overestimating, to be honest. It will spit something back out to us in about 10 minutes. At this point, we do need to edit due to some limitations with ChatGPT, but it's just making things so much quicker.
I'm guessing a lot of people who are watching us right now haven't used it. I hadn't used it at all until yesterday. And as I say, I used the phrase earlier, frighteningly impressive this software is. I did a little experiment to try the software out. Let's take a look at that. Okay, real-time experiment. I've already typed in, will ChatGPT lead to people losing their jobs? Then I press send. We'll see how quickly we get an answer and what the answer is. I don't have the ability to directly cause people to lose their jobs. However, it is true that the increasing capabilities of AI and automation technology have led to some job displacement in certain industries, and then it goes on. So super quick, the answer actually was reasonable. Joel, as a professor, I don't know how many papers you get from students, how that works in the classroom, but I instantly thought of a student who hasn't done the reading, I don't know why I thought of that example, who quickly needs to write something. Do you think ChatGPT is going to suddenly make a lot of people in school seem a lot smarter than they really are?
I think maybe to some extent, and there's some, I think, wrong-headed.
So I have
Okay.
classmates who are using ChatGPT to do graduate level math.
Okay.
Like they literally copy paste the math problem, like whatever proof the professor wants them to write in their homework, into ChatGPT, and the ChatGPT answers that. I got super pissed because when I took that class, it was like a year ago, and there wasn't any ChatGPT stuff.
Yeah. I bet.
So so bad that it's graduate level math and it's getting solved by ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Pissing me off.
You got cheesed.
Oh,
Oh
right.
shit, that's funny.
together. But you know, at least for now, it's not at the level where it's providing such good work that you know a student could do no work and just submit a ChatGPT written essay. I just don't think it's there yet. You really need to take the output and then iterate on it many times. So I see it more as an aid in writing than as something that's producing a finished product.
And Dara, I'm fascinated by your industry.
Soon it'll get better and better.
Yep.
Use ChatGPT sometimes for news releases.
And this was 1 month ago, by the way.
Okay, news releases are pretty straightforward. You need a good lead line, but other than that, it's I can see.
So actually, pause a moment.
Yep.
These large language model based on the transformer architecture is just a type of neural network.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have some failure cases when the context gets too long. So their memory, so to speak, their memory is not that good, right? So yeah, that's one of the flaws, and it might be addressed some point later on.
But that's where it is right now.
But it also depends on the subject, I guess. Like weirdly enough, a lot of the math stuff, ChatGPT is actually good at. But as long as the line of reasoning is not too complex, right? Like, as I was saying, like the attention or the memory, so to speak, isn't super long. So if you give it a problem that it needs to like solve through solve by breaking down into many sub problems and then individually solving those, ChatGPT will likely fail at that. But if you give it like some equation and ask it to like do something with it, like maybe prove that it comes from another equation in a fairly straightforward process, and it might be difficult for the human, but for ChatGPT, because it has seen many of those proofs in math papers, then it will be able to do that fairly easily. And those math homeworks that I said, like graduate level, it took me like many hours to solve, and I took probably other students like that long as well. But the ChatGPT, just a few minutes, right?
Yeah.
So we always see, well, not a few minutes, a few seconds, like copy paste into ChatGPT and then copy paste the answer. And we've seen ChatGPT solve like law school exams, med school exams. So yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm not sure what the point I'm trying to make here, but yeah, it definitely can be used disruptively in class and academia. And most jobs that need, that either use text input to create other text output or strictly like generates text outputs will be impacted by ChatGPT, either in the form of improved efficiency or people getting fired.
Right.
Create that, but the creativity, the originality of a great, advertising campaign. I can't imagine that you could ever get rid of the human touch there. What's your sense of that?
I agree with that. And when I'm asked the question, do I think that this is going to replace people? I don't, because you do need that creative writing skill that this technology does not have. It does not have.
It's going to replace some people, but I don't think that's the point she was getting at. It's definitely not going to replace all people, because you still need some
direction.
Like,
you need someone approving the process,
right?
exactly.
The
like a manager, exactly.
Yeah. But there's also the fact that a lot of people are saying ChatGPT's writing style is not creative enough. But I think a large portion of that is because they haven't prompted ChatGPT in the correct manner.
Yep.
Like you need to prompt it into creative writing, because technical writing and creative writing are two different writing styles, but both can be found everywhere on the internet. So ChatGPT has seen a lot of creative writing, and it's capable of creative writing, but you have to poke it into that direction.
You want to give it a try? Let's just do a prompt then. Advertise me a shoe. What's the ad here? Advertise me a shoe script. A script. Okay. Write up a script that advertise a shoe flying from the sky like Fortnite to attract young audiences to purchase. How about that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Holy shit, I'm just reading this. Oh my god. Alright, let's read this.
Fly high. Fly
Sure, here's a scripted advertisement that features a shoe flying from the sky, like in the popular video game Fortnite, to attract young audiences purchases. Scene A: a group of young people standing outside looking up at the sky. Narrator: are you ready for something out of this world? Something that's going to take your style to new heights? Well, get ready, because it's coming. Suddenly, a shoe flies down from the sky and lands in front of the group. Whoa, did you see that? That's insane! Narrator: introducing the all-new flying shoes. Straight from the skies of Fortnite. These shoes are to revitalize the way you walk, run, and jump. Close up on this flying shoe. Narrator: with their advanced technology and sleek design, you'll be the envy of all your friends. The group, the young people, to put the shoes and start jumping around and amazed at their abilities. Young person 3: I feel like I'm flying. This is so cool. What are you waiting for? Join the revolution to get your own pair of flying shoes today.
Is this better or worse than someone in marketing department would write? Like, I think it's about the same, right?
Yeah, so I'm looking at it from a because I started picking up scene writing again, and
Fly high with
yeah,
flying shoes.
it's a good prompt in my opinion. The way it's advertising, it brings the character, which is the shoe, it shows the audience, which is the young people, establishes the scene that it's outside. Like, it has the trademarks of a good, simple, short, quick story, which is flying shoe changes your life. You look cool. Your friends think you're cool. You're all cool. Buy now. Like, if you look at it objective like that, it's good.
Right? Fly high.
Yeah, fly high with flying shoes. Exactly. Like, it finished off very nicely. So, what she just said just now.
Creative writing is not. Like, she's not the only one who said that. Like, I've heard many people say that ChatGPT has no creativity. That's simply not true. Creativity. Like, what do you mean by creativity, right? Do you mean creative writing, or do you mean like a spark of creativity, whatever we think that is?
Which is something we'll never.
Yeah, the spark of like creativity, that's some abstract concept that we believe that humans have, but I'm not even sure about that. Like, maybe we're just biological machines, right? Who knows, right? But that's some different subject. Creative writing, ChatGPT is actually good at, but you have to prompt it. Right? Like, you can have ChatGPT make a poem about like eating lasagna on Tuesday or something.
Create a poem.
Haiku. Like a haiku or something.
Create a haiku. Eating lasagna. It's on a Tuesday night.
Eating a lasagna?
I don't know.
Create a haiku about
eating lasagna on Tuesday night. Yeah?
Create a haiku about eating lasagna. I like correct grammar when I prompt chat.
Oh, creating a haiku about eating. Sorry, I didn't see that. About eating lasagna on Tuesday night. Right?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Layers of pasta, savoring
good,
cheesy bite, Tuesday night comfort. Holy shit! I like it. It's good.
ChatGPT is definitely very capable at different writing style, but you have to push it in the right direction. I think its default direction is just either conversational or technical.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though. Layers of pasta, savoring cheesy bite.
Because you have to think about it. It's like some machine, like, or some thing that has read through most of the internet, so it has general knowledge of many things. It might not be true knowledge, but it's it has seen many things.
That's funny.
The creativity, the human touch, and once you use it more, you will see there is bias built into the output and misinformation. So you do really need a person checking it over and over. Every output that is spit out needs to be checked over. So I agree.
I mean, there's some big misses too. Like, I put in some questions where I was astounded at how well it did, and others where it got it absolutely wrong. Yeah. Joel, are you excited? Are you worried? How do you feel, like, as of tonight, about the future of AI generally, but ChatGPT specifically?
I guess a little bit of both. I think this is a technology that could really increase productivity in the Canadian sector. I think it's a technology that our business leaders really need to be looking at and thinking, how can I incorporate this? But at the same time, it's going to have pretty serious impacts on society. There's not just a loss of jobs, but possibly increasing inequality, because some folks are going to benefit from this technology. They'll become more productive, and others are going to be displaced. And so every technology has always affected, there's been winners and losers, has affected people differently, and it'll be the same with ChatGPT.
And
Yeah.
Dara, think about how your office looks now. And I imagine like a
I like this
communications
professor.
and PR firm in Miami. It must
We
be
have the same
so
idea.
interesting to work there.
Well, yeah,
How
he's
do you
like
think it might look different in a year or two?
he's like the
as
more
AI gets
well-researched
more deeply
version of your take, right?
Yeah.
Like he's a
I
professor
don't
in
know how
economics.
different
Yeah.
it'll look, to be honest.
So he knows what he's
I
talking
think
Yeah,
about.
and I'm
if
just
we're
an
hiring
amateur. Yeah,
people,
exactly.
We will look for more creative writing skills versus the technicality of writing, because the technicality we have covered. I don't see it changing in my office personally in a year.
In a year.
You both sound sort of excited and hopeful as opposed to pessimistic.
So in 2 years then, right?
Usually the way I hear people talk about AI. So that's really interesting. And thank you very much for speaking with us tonight.
Thank
Alright.
you.
That was an interesting conversation.
So yeah, and it's not gonna just impact the fields that the economics professor of University of Waterloo has mentioned, right? It's like pretty much any field where you spend a lot of time typing on the keyboard. ChatGPT can both improve your efficiency or put your job in danger.
Yeah.
Or ChatGPT or any other large language model like the ones that Google are training and the ones that other companies are training, I'm sure.
All right. Ready for the next video?
Yeah.
All right.
Ads
Black Desert OST.
models
Yep.
selling jeans.
This was an interesting topic when I saw this on the news at work.
Glance, but let's look more carefully, because no one in these pictures, not a single soul, is human. All of these people.
This is the
were
ethics
created
question.
by artificial intelligence. An entire Levi's campaign of models without paying for models, and the internet seems annoyed.
The internet is very angry at this model.
It's not the only campaign giving this a go, and just maybe this is the future. Artificial intelligence so woven into our lives we don't even notice it.
So the conversation about AI often starts with the novelty of ChatGPT. We talk a lot about that, but there are more subversive ways AI is creeping in, and just because you don't always recognize it doesn't mean it's harmless or has no consequences. So let's pull back this curtain a little bit. What is happening? What do we need to think about? Sinead Bovell is a former model and current futurist. I have a lot of questions about
What
that.
the hell, man, futurist?
Joshua Bengio is a Canadian computer scientist, one of 20,000 tech leaders who signed a letter calling for a pause in AI development so the world can talk about how to regulate.
What are your thoughts on this pause?
I mean, I think whatever country is going to pause it, other countries are not going to do it.
Exactly. The other countries are not going to pause it. So if we pause it in Canada, I think we're missing out quite a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. But then again, like a lot of this stuff is open source. So
Yeah.
even though the research is not done here, we still benefit.
Well, you benefit from other countries
ChatGPT,
researching it, yeah.
Stable Diffusion and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think people are going to pause it in the
No.
end. Like personally, I'm on the opinion that we should keep working towards AI development, but
Yep.
that's because I'm working in this field and I have biases.
I still think we should work on it anyway, just because like we could capitalize on it, honestly. In terms of like what it could do for our work-life balance and blah blah blah, and just overall profits in general. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the example that people like to give is the Industrial Revolution, or maybe the agricultural revolution.
Yep.
Thousands of years ago. But
Yep.
I think the Industrial Revolution is a better example. Like, people don't have to. Yes, industrialization of many different things have led to people losing their jobs, but it also has led to shorter work hours
And better work life.
expanded, expanded industries and commerces. So
Yeah, quality of life
in the long
increases as
term,
well.
I think
Yeah.
it's going to benefit the economy.
Yeah.
This space. I want to get to that in a moment.
Because in the end, like you have more efficient workers, right? Like when people are, if your work involves typing on the computer in some manners, whether it be coding or writing things,
Mhm.
or whether your job involves generating images, you become more efficient. Now, we can examine the consequences of that, and in the short term, there's going to be job losses.
Yep.
But in the long term, I think if every such worker becomes like, let's say, 50% more efficient,
Mhm.
we're going to have like a positive economic benefit.
Mhm.
Right? And the companies are obviously going to profit.
Yes,
They
the
get to
company's gonna
fire
help.
people and get more work done. So
Yeah, and like this is where when you're displaced and you're unwilling to train for a new skill set, this is where like, you know what, we're gonna have a bunch of people who are not working. We're gonna need some universal basic income for these idiots. So
yeah, well, not exactly. Well, yeah, in one aspect, yes, but there's also other um, careers that
yeah,
are not uh, strongly uh,
saturated
impacted
yet.
by
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
The first world countries are already a strongly service-based economy, right?
Mhm.
Like a lot of a large portion of the economy relative to other countries is based on providing services to other people.
Yep.
Now, with ChatGPT making technical jobs
Mhm.
more efficient and people, well, and require making technical jobs require less people working in technical jobs,
Mhm.
and I think it's going to free up even more people in service to
Service.
do
Yep.
these service jobs,
Yep.
like be it helping people or like retail, those like jobs that people don't really look well upon, let's
Yeah,
say.
like the tourist
Maybe
industry.
it's gonna. What was it? I missed.
The tourist industry, for example, like there's nobody wants to do those, helping people getting on those cabins and stuff like that. Those,
Yeah.
like,
But
yeah.
maybe like in the long term,
Mhm.
when AI has revolutionized like software engineers and writers and artists and all that other stuff and like educators,
Mhm.
then it's gonna free up more people to do other jobs, and like we won't have like we would have a different opinions of those jobs too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So there's definitely gonna be some big changes into the job market for sure. It's gonna be very similar to the agricultural revolution, how they changed from everyone being like 60% farmers into now like what 5% being farmers in Canada and
Yeah, like
North
well, in
America.
the agricultural revolution, people were
Yeah.
like foragers at first, like thousands of
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
When we didn't have agriculture, you have to spend like 16 hours a day looking for food, or you just die,
Yep.
right? So, in a sense, like those forager jobs become lost,
Mhm.
but people find jobs into
Other.
like for farming,
Yeah.
and then uh, later on in the industrial revolution, farming became more efficient, so you needed less farmers,
Mhm.
but each farmer could provide food for more people,
Yeah.
so it opens up other jobs.
Yeah.
And in this sense, I think most jobs are like computer based,
Mhm.
are going to be affected, but it's gonna free up. Uh, yeah, it's gonna free up those people for more jobs, and it's going to um, have an overall positive impact on the economy because you have more efficient workers at the end.
Mhm. So I should just go, go hair school, right, and start cutting hair. I'll never lose my job.
Maybe.
Or
Yeah,
should.
in fact, um, so they are obviously robots that
Yeah.
can, like grasp and perform like hand-based actions.
Yeah.
But that's definitely a more difficult um, part because there's not only like the planning, there's
Yeah.
also like vision system and
Yep.
control system.
Yep.
So yeah, even if we have, okay, so we don't have any artificial general intelligence, but even if we did have that, we will still need to find some way to install it into a humanoid body like a robot
Yep.
to make it perform a human-like job. Like,
Mhm.
have you seen Detroit Become Human? Or
Yep. I saw that.
yeah, was that the name? Detroit Become Human?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Like even if we have an AI system that's capable of doing those things in the software
Yeah.
side, the hardware side is still very difficult
Yeah, there's
to work with.
limitations.
Like
Yeah.
we need like the vision system to actually like have it properly capture the environment and have a navigation system to localize it in the environment while
Mhm.
it's capturing the environment. Like it's a lot of different systems. It's not just the AI that's capable of
Yep.
learning and processing images
The
and text.
sensories and imaging and storing it and
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So.
So yeah, a lot of those jobs that are not computer based are safe for now. And
So
in
I.
fact, I think for stay for quite a while.
So I should just go back to theater school and learn to be a stage actor instead.
Yeah, maybe. Or the other side is you can ride the AI wave, right?
Yeah.
Like even though some people are gonna get fired,
Yeah.
it's also gonna create more jobs
Yes, yeah,
because
of course.
it opens more opportunities.
Yeah.
AI models, these AI avatars. Sinead, forgive me here, but beyond actual people losing work, what's the problem with it?
Right, so outside of just the automation that this means for the industry, there's an added layer of complexity when there might be a bit of a difference between the identities of the people being automated and the identities of those controlling those avatars or AI-generated people. So who has the right to control the identities that these AI models will represent? And should there be some sort of connection? Or does this open up new layers and avenues for exploitation, a new world of kind of robot cultural appropriation, so to speak?
Robot cultural appropriation. Can you explain that a little bit?
Right. So in kind of traditional terms, when a non-dominant group, or when a dominant group takes elements from a less dominant group and derives commercial benefit from it, we usually call that cultural appropriation. In a world with AI and avatars, that can become incredibly complicated. So if a white male, for example, owns and profits off of an AI-generated model who happens to be Black and female, is that an avenue for cultural appropriation in the digital age?
Isn't that a pimp?
No, I don't think that's the issue.
Like what? I'm trying to grasp my head here.
There's
Like,
no, like cultural appropriation, but yeah, I don't think she has a point to stand on here anyway.
it doesn't sound like a point to be stand on. I'm because like the only thing I can conclude is like, is she comparing like a person who owns an AI as a pimp? Like,
so
what?
If she wants to play the victim there, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's such a weird direction to go to because she's saying like, okay, so this person, let's say this white male, generates a picture of a Black female to use as a magazine cover, whether that's cultural appropriation. But then it's like, that's the question, well, is hiring, is writing roles for Black people cultural appropriation? Like, where do we draw the line here, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're not profiting from. I'm not even sure what exactly the point she's trying to make.
I say so. Let's continue.
Okay, and Joshua, if
I don't think that's even a definition of cultural appropriation. Right? Like, it's not
maybe even makeup. This is another place where
monetary benefit from
avatars are everywhere.
ethnic minority. Like, that's not cultural
appropriation. To look at a perfectly photoshopped.
And also, on the other hand, I also think that her job is superficial, anyways. So whether it's replaced by AI, I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
check that. Where is the potential for trouble with AI's?
Is the volume okay?
They can easily invent new people that not only not exist, but maybe are not even like plausible. I mean, sometimes models you think are not plausible either, but it could be worsened. And so yeah, these are asking difficult questions that we'll need to grapple with.
And in specific terms, for you at night, you know, when you go to sleep, what is it specifically about AI that can keep you staring at the ceiling? What are the scenarios that concern you?
So yeah, the professor makes good points, but she doesn't make any good points.
Okay.
I'm worried for the stability of our societies. I'm worried about these tools being used to influence people. I mean, people are already very influential, and we've seen with social media the effect of trolls and so on. But imagine those trolls at a massive scale, so it's not limited by the number of people who can be behind a keyboard.
And Sinead, you know, you're a futurist. I realize AI is with us right now, but best case scenario, so the flip side of this, in 5 years, how do you see it changing our lives?
Hopefully, artificial intelligence is primarily a tool that's used to benefit humanity. It transforms healthcare.
I'm losing brain cells. I'm sorry.
No, keep going. But I mean, she's not
Medicine and
saying anything
pharmaceuticals.
weird
It
here.
transforms education. It can be applied to climate change and sustainability. We can achieve a lot of great new ideas and new explorations in space. There's a whole host of ways that this technology can really be on the right side of history.
I mean, those are good
and
points, to be honest, but
build
yeah.
a future that works for all of us, or for at least most of us. But that's not something we're going to just arrive at without careful choice, without continuing to have societal conversations and making sure it's not just a few people speaking on behalf of everyone.
So that's interesting. You talk about being careful, but this is an unregulated space. I mean, I think of it in terms of almost outer space where no one is actually in charge up there. And I suppose, Joshua, that's where this letter comes in that you and some 20,000 other people signed, calling for this pause. I'm trying to figure out why some of the biggest companies in the world that are in AI would agree to a pause when they're operating in this sort of tantalizing.
I think they only would agree for legalities reasons, I think.
They might agree together because I think the human beings behind those companies and the AI researchers, many of them, I'm pretty sure, would welcome rules of the game that make a level playing field.
Yeah, so legislature definitely works a lot slower than the amount of AI papers and innovations being published. Right? For legislature, you have like these 70-year-olds debating very slowly, whereas for AI papers, you have like 20, 30-year-old like students eager to prove themselves and just cranking out a ton of new papers, new innovations.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not even comparable. And yeah, he does make a good point, and she does make a good point that AI development has far outpaced legislature.
Yep, that is a good point. Yep.
Like right now, if we make the example, if we make an analogy to the internet, it's as if there were zero laws regulating the internet. We're pretty much at that level, right? Like I do believe that in many aspects, AI development and usage should be regulated more rigorously. But I don't think stopping AI development is
going to be any more beneficial. Exactly. Yeah.
Speeding up regulation and like lawmaking.
Yep. Making faster decisions to like legally work on these things.
Yeah, you probably pass some laws concerning like what
you can and cannot do.
Train these large language models, and like how are you allowed to use them? But
like selling likeness,
stopping the development, I don't think is ever gonna happen.
Yeah, like for example, like I know for a fact in the future, record labels, if they even have like a fraction of a brain, they'll think of actually selling the likeness of their artists under their label, for their likeness for the voice, for example, right?
Yeah.
Get a license for that, and I think that artists, in general, in the music world, would actually most likely be beneficial for the indie artists, right? Because these indie artists, if they can't get a record label, but if there's somebody who likes your voice and you can sell it that person your voice for a fee or a royalty, I think that's actually really beneficial. Like if you can legalize that process rather than just ripping out the artist's voice, like that. I'm gonna show you that video later, the one with regards of the weekend thing. We'll watch it after this recording, but I want to show you like there's different ways of profiting this. It just needs to be legalized on paper so that everyone can be on the same page on it.
Yeah, so legislature needs to catch up with the rate of AI development. But like you can't really stop AI development. Right? Like anytime there's a new technology, it's very hard to put a brake on it.
Yeah. Let's finish this video and do a closing.
But if there is no regulation and no agreement, coordination between these companies, then it's a race to the bottom. That's why we need an acceleration of the efforts to
just what we talk about
to regulate, and that's what we're essentially calling for.
I hear what you're saying, Joshua, but who can anyone hold accountable right now for what AI might be doing?
Well, we already do these things in other sectors of society. People who build airplanes are accountable when something goes wrong, and they have to document what they're doing, how they build the planes, how they make them safe, and the same thing could be done in AI. It's just that it hasn't been done before. And by the way, Canada is probably going to be the first country to have a legislation that goes in this direction. And the legislation that's proposed actually has very nice features. It's flexible, it's adaptive, it's principles based, and something that would be more difficult in the US, which means that the regulation can adapt quickly when new dangers appear.
Yeah, I think we have frameworks already. If you look at the pharmaceutical industry, R&D is encouraged, but when it comes to products interacting with humans and with citizens, there are protocols and steps of procedure that have to be followed, and there's a lot of spots of guidelines and regulation. So I think we have these models and frameworks. It's just about applying them now to this emerging sector of AI.
All right, Sinead Bovell and Joshua Bengio, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I really like what the data scientists have to say. Like he has some
computer scientist.
Yeah, computer scientist. He has a lot of good points that
Professor of computer science, I think.
Yeah, whatever his role is, we'll talk about this video another time.
Points were good as well, except the beginning.
The beginning was weird.
You know, whether it's cultural appropriation, if some white dude generates an AI image of some minority, yeah, it's completely nonsense, right? Like when you think about normal game design or something like that, like 3D digital entertainment industry, like it's not cultural appropriation if some white guy generates like a minority character. That's complete nonsense. Like that's not even what cultural appropriation means. So that first point was nonsense, but
it got better later on. Yeah, overall, I think it got better.
Made some good points, especially the professor.
Yeah, I really like his point because again, we can't keep harping that it's a legal thing. We have to legalize things a lot quicker, especially from a profitable point.
Set rules for everyone that you know, like
everyone can follow.
Follow these rules
for
AI development and usage.
Yeah. So overall, I think we can agree in all three videos that AI is not gonna leave. It's gonna be pretty sticky. It's gonna be displacing people for sure. It's definitely going to displace people. We can definitely agree that, mutually speaking. And we also agree about the legality of things. And I think overall, the three videos, they had good points, except for the first one had like a little bit hard to watch, but there's only a few good points on that one.
Adam Conover had some good points too, but he didn't express them in a coherent manner, right? Like he was very spazzy and
entertaining. Again, that video was just entertaining.
He was both sarcastic and spazzy. It's a hard combo to deal with.
Yeah. So, but the last two videos, I actually definitely enjoyed, both from the economists and the computer scientists. I definitely agree both of their points about the economical points of view and the legalities especially.
Job displacement is in fact
inevitable
a consequence of like a large large sudden improvement in worker efficiency, right? Like we've seen it many times. So it's just something we'll have to deal with, but in the long term it's also going to boost our economy and create new jobs. So because even though maybe on the short term more people are going to be unemployed, it's not a good status quo for the market to have unemployed people, right? Like, it essentially corrects itself because people want to work. Well, a large portion of people that are unemployed want to work, so then they're going to find jobs, and whether it's like creating jobs through, I don't know, like startups or innovations, things like that, or just go into other industries where it's less affected by AI, I think overall the economy will correct itself and benefit from the increase in efficiency in those areas affected by like generative AI.
Yeah, you brought up a good point, because this is going to be technically bringing a job correction in the market, ironically enough. So, like, with this efficiency, right? Because it has to now...
we're already at the stage where a significant portion of jobs are non-essential, so to speak, like modeling or service, like many things in the service industry, right? So we might see a larger shift in that direction, It's hard to say. Like it's not my area of expertise. So.
Yeah, because I'm seeing quite a lot. So I'm looking at job openings per view, and because I'm in the specialized machining industry, so I know what's happening in the manufacturing industry. There's a huge labor issue going on actually with manufacturing because nobody wants to do that kind of stuff. Actually, ironically enough, so the correction could be going from everyone who's going to office work going back to manufacturing now instead, because
yeah,
there's a lot of labor involved in that.
Point where like even manufacturing parts of it can be improved by generative AI, right? Or by like robotics, which is like maybe not 5 years away.
But it also depends on the manufacturing industry in general, like which part are you involved in manufacturing. And so in our case, we always need a person to be involved in creating these machines because they're going to be custom designed to do a custom product for the customer that requires it, right? So like in that regard, if you're making the machines, the assembly lines itself, yes, that manufacturing industry will always be there. But if you're doing like generic parts, like a car brake, that shit's gonna be most likely automated easily, no problem. Just have someone one human input one part, and that one part will multiply in like God knows, like they just need to put the raw material in,
sure.
right?
And one aspect that the economics professor touched on but didn't say too much on is the inequality, right? So in the end, you might have even a larger inequality, like a worsening of what's already happening. Because we are already at that stage where many jobs are unessential. So the unessential job can be well-paying or like poor-paying, right? And it could be that we're going towards an economy where you have incredibly efficient workers and their bosses benefiting a lot from generative AIs, making shitload of money. And then on the other side, you have like low-paying jobs in the service industry. Maybe with some higher paying job, like in the service industry or in the I don't know. Yeah, but you get my point, right?
Yeah. I understand what you're trying to say.
Income inequality, those who do benefit from AI and increase in efficiency caused by AI, versus those who are displaced.
Yeah, the compensation ratio between the work volume involved and the actual compensation itself, right? Because the package for those low-paying jobs, but have more labor involved because it's not automated, is not fairly compensated versus somebody who's getting an AI involved doing most of their work, and they can just benefit by just putting a couple texts, call it a day, and their compensation is insane.
You have one company who who's loaded with cash, let's say, who's capable of hiring a few workers, supervising like automated pipelines. Versus the other company who just chooses to hire like third world country workers to like do assembly or something. So yeah, larger income inequality, but this time it won't be like third world country workers.
It'd be like first world country workers.
Out of job.
Out of job displaced workers.
First world countries.
Yeah, that's actually gonna be insane if we're thinking like that.
In the end, like that's not AI specific issue.
No.
It's just an issue of a evolving
market.
Evolving capitalist market, right?
Yeah, so that's where we are, and that's why like I think universal income, basic income for those low earners, I think it should be like considered in the national budget, because these low income workers will be stuck at that low income regardless, no matter what, and then they can never catch up in being able to pay off the rent and pay off the foods because the inflation on those are going to go up, and there's no way they can find compensation outside of maybe upgrading their education to get into those other jobs. But even then, those are limited now. So at some point, there's going to be too much people want to compete those jobs, and then at some point, like, we're going to do those people who fail to get in. Like, what are they going to do? They have to go back to something. So all right, let's not harp on too much. That was our first React video episode. We're gonna do the replica one next another time. So any shout outs or anything you want to conclude on this episode, and we'll go to the next one next time?
No shout outs. Don't find me on social media. I'm not on social media.
Okay, it's fine. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.